Hello, welcome to the Caregiver Question of the Week. I'm Amelia Borland, occupational therapist and owner and founder of Higher Standards Caregiver Training. And today's caregiver question has to do with why someone will not eat. That is a seemingly simple question, but actually the answer is pretty big. So make sure you're really paying attention and listening to this one, because there are a lot of layers involved. Real quick, before we get started, please keep in mind that this is for educational purposes only. It's not a substitute for health or medical advice, and it's not a substitute for a therapeutic relationship. Also, very much want to let you know about some important stuff before we start answering this question, some of which is relevant to the answer of this question. So, first thing to know, if you are a family caregiver and you watch the Caregiver Question of the Week, or you have been a viewer of 10-Minute Tip Tuesday, if you are out there asking questions and actively looking for answers, then you really need to know about something that is happening next Friday, and that is the official launch of WCN University. WCN University stands for Whole Care Network University, and this is the result of an astounding amount of effort, really trying to bring together experts from all sides of the caregiving journey, from all sides of the caregiving process, bringing to family caregivers in one single site a huge amount of people and resources that are actually licensed, certified, real experts, reliable information. This is what we're trying to get to you as family caregivers, so that you can take your questions, get actionable information from people who are really reliable, who know their stuff. And this is what they do. We have a physician, we have a physician assistant, we've got me as an occupational therapist, we have social workers, we have yoga instructors, guys. So it's going to be very, very cool. And of course, it's going to be a resource that we continue to build. But the idea is to give you family caregivers a single place where you can go to actually get reliable, vetted information from experts, things that are actionable, things you can really do, not just telling you to take care of yourself, but what does that actually mean? What does that look like? So that is going to be, we are officially launching with a live streaming event next Friday, which is the 17th of February. That is National Family Caregiver Day. And we're going to be doing live streaming mini interviews with our experts. You're going to get to hear from some of the best podcasters at Whole Care Network. And we're going to tell you a lot more about it at that time. But please, if you're a family caregiver, if you watch Caregiver Question of the Week, if you followed me for 10-Minute Tip Tuesday, if you're just out there asking questions and you need answers, please make sure that you are checking out this live streaming event being provided by Whole Care Network next Friday. And I will post more details of that coming up, but you will be able to watch that live stream either at the Whole Care Network YouTube channel, and also should be able to be it's also going to be live streaming at wholecarenetwork.com. So make sure you're checking that out. Okay, question of the week. I promise we are going to answer now. So why won't, basic question, why won't my loved one eat? Why won't my care partner eat? Seems like a simple question, but there are many layers to this answer. So I'm going to do my best to answer these layers. I'm going to do my best to answer in a way that is helpful and meaningful here. So first of all, we have to understand that there are lots of reasons why people might not eat. A lot of times the assumption is that someone is not hungry. And of course, sometimes that might be the case. Sometimes people do have a poor appetite, and that can be related to medications. It can be related to their illness or condition. It can be related to their activity level, right? So certainly sometimes people don't eat because they have a poor appetite. They're not hungry. But there can be other reasons why people are not eating as well. So as an occupational therapist, I'll approach this usually by asking a few questions. First of all, can the person see what's in front of them? Can they see the food there? Can they engage with that food? And then taking that another step. Okay, so we believe they can see their food. They know it's there in front of them. So why aren't they interacting with their food? Why aren't they eating with it? So then the question becomes, can they manage this food? And I think about management in really three separate areas. Can they manage how to eat this food cognitively, right? By the way, there is a 10-minute Two-Tip Tuesday that was really focused on that specific question and gives some pretty helpful tips for this idea of whether or not people can cognitively manage their food and what you can do if they can't cognitively manage their food. So I will link you to that particular 10-minute Two-Tip Tuesday. I will link you to that here as part of this post so you can check that out. But so first, can they cognitively manage the food that's in front of them, how to eat it? Second, can they physically manage with their hands, with their arms, right? Can they physically get that food from the plate into their mouth? And then the third kind of broad area of management is once it's in their mouth, can they manage the food or the drink that's in their mouth? Can they effectively chew it? Can they effectively swallow it, right? So those are other layers to this question of, sometimes people won't eat because they're not seeing the food, even though we think they are. Sometimes they don't eat because they cannot cognitively manage how they are supposed to eat this food. Sometimes people aren't eating because they can't physically manage it, getting it from the plate or the bowl and into their mouth. And sometimes people don't eat because they can't manage that food or that beverage once it's in their mouth. So, again, different layers of ways that we can look at why someone isn't eating. If they can't manage, so then we have to ask those questions. Once we have actually figured out what the reasoning is, then we have to figure out what level of support someone needs in order to assist them with eating. I recognize that those are a lot of questions, and actually someone not eating is a complex issue. So really, if you have someone who's not eating and the answer is not obvious to you as to why, it really is important to work with the medical team to make sure that you're getting to the bottom of that. And usually there are going to be three members of this healthcare team who are going to help manage the most common reasons why people aren't eating, right? Like things like appetite, and then the management of actually being able to interact with that food, get it into the mouth, and then being able to manage that food once it's in the mouth and going down the hatch. And those are, generally speaking, going to be the physician involved, the occupational therapist for that person, and the speech therapist. And really, those three professionals working together as the team can work some pretty astounding miracles for people who are having trouble with eating or who appear like they just don't want to eat. But it is that kind of team of working together that often it can take when these problems get complicated. One more thing, of course, obviously, can the person taste the food? And that can make a difference whether or not we want to eat it too. Again, though, these are definitely issues that if the answer, hopefully this answer has been helpful to you. If you're a family caregiver and you're looking at someone who's not eating, hopefully this thought process is helpful to you, saying, I wonder if it could be this or this or this. But at the end of the day, if it's not something that is, relatively obvious to you after thinking through those things, then you probably really do need to be reaching out to the healthcare provider for the person that you care for in order to get this team involved and get them eating again. And often, the solutions that those providers are going to give to you are going to be things that you can absolutely implement, but it's a matter of figuring out, okay, at what levels and layers is there a problem, and what is the correct intervention for that level and layer. And unfortunately, there's not really a one size fits all answer to this question. But it is a great question. It's a question that affects so many people. Weight loss and what we call like failure to thrive is a real thing. And often we can step in and intervene and make it better. So make sure you are talking to the healthcare team or the person that you care for about that issue. So like I said, if you're a family caregiver, if you are looking for answers, actionable answers, then please make sure you're checking out the relaunch of Whole Care Network and the official launch of WCN University coming up next Friday. Check out that live stream either on YouTube or at wholecarenetwork.com. I am going to link you to the 10-minute Tuesday that goes a little bit more in depth in terms of what are some practical things that you can do if someone is having cognitive trouble managing how they're supposed to eat and access their food. The other thing to keep in mind is there is a full-length course available. It is available actually at WCNuniversity.com right now. And it is all about how we can provide appropriate levels of assistance for people when they are feeding themselves or when we need to actually give physical help feeding them. So definitely, so I'll link you to that as well if that's something that you need. Definitely make sure that you check it out. And yeah, thanks for bearing with me on this. I realize it was a longer caregiver question of the week, but also it was this is a complex topic. And I really wanted to let you all know about the cool things that are happening over at Whole Care Network and WCN University. So I will see you next week. I will see you next week for caregiver question of the week. And I will see you next week live streaming for a huge chunk of the day at the relaunch of Whole Care Network. So make sure that you join us for that. Until then, y'all, please stay healthy, stay well, and most of all, take care. Bye.